We're going to take a look now at some video that Mike Hopkins actually sent down back on January 4th, where he showed off what we call the EMU, that is the spacesuit, and talked about some of the items on it. So we'll take a look at that now here on NASA television.
Hi everyone, it's January 4th, so Happy New Year. I apologize for not having done one of these in a little while. As you probably heard, we got a little busy up here right before Christmas and got the opportunity to go out on a couple of spacewalks, which was absolutely incredible, very special experience. And so where I am today is actually in the equipment lock and the airlock, where we got ready and went out the door when we had to do the pump module R&R. And so what you're looking at again, right now I'm in what we call the equipment lock, and this is where we keep our suits. And this is very similar to the suits that, the same kind of suits that Rick and I wore outside. They're not the same ones because we've actually had to do a little bit of maintenance, just some standard routine maintenance that we always have to do. But anyway, this is where we spent a good chunk of our time on both of those EVA days, because when you come in here and get suited up, it actually takes probably about 5 hours prior to actually going out the door before that all happens. And so as you look at the suit, of course, we have our helmet here, and these are a couple of our the lights that we have, and on top of each of the lights is a camera, and then we can control that camera just with the button up here. These valves that you see here, this is a purge valve, so if for any reason we needed to purge, like if we had high CO2 levels in the helmet or something like that, if the scrubbers weren't working for the CO2, then we could potentially use this purge valve. These are just controls for raising the visors. You can see a lot of times when you see the pictures, the gold visor will be down. Actually, when you're outside, it's quite bright, and so the gold visor is very helpful when you're in the daylight. This is what we call the DCM, and it's the control system for the suits. And this is where we actually, there's a little screen up here that you can't see, that we can get status on the suits, how much oxygen's left, how long we've been outside, battery life, things of that information. Over here is where we can actually control our temperature just by rotating this. This is controlling the O2, the oxygen valve, and then we have different things like fan, the frequencies for our communication system. So the way we actually get into the suit is it disconnects down here, and so these pants drop off, and you actually put the pants on first, the helmet comes off, and you crawl up from underneath. And once you're in the suit, then you hook up a cooling system, so you're wearing these kind of long underwear that have tubes running through them that from the suit you then have cooling water that goes through that to help you stay cool. So you hook all that up. Then you connect the pants back to the hut, is what we call it. That's the hard upper torso. And then when you're ready, they put the helmet on, and now you're enclosed. And they put your gloves on, and now you're enclosed in. And one of the other things that we had to do while we were getting ready is we do what we call pre-breathe. And so because we're down at a lower pressure, it's very similar to what happens when divers are down low and then they come up to a lower pressure. And so you got to get that, they have to do it very gradually and get the nitrogen out of their blood, because if they come up too fast, you can get what they call the bends. And so we could get the same thing going down to the lower pressure as we're getting ready to go out, because the suits are actually, right now, the atmosphere is at about 14.7 psi, and the suits when we're outside are actually at about 4.4. That's what they maintain, 4.3, 4.4 psi. So we have to go through a very long process of pre-breathing, and so that's part of what takes so long. Once we're done with the pre-breathing, now we get into the final stages of getting ready to go. And that's when they're going to put the tools that you saw us carry in. They get connected right here on the front. That's what we call a mini workstation. And we also put a little backpack jet device on, and that allows us, if for some reason we were to come off the station without our safety tether, gives us a chance to get back to the station. So once we're all suited up, and this is where Koichi Wakata, who was the third crew member here, and actually all of Kotov helped him out. They helped us get suited up, and then Koichi's running all the procedures as we go through that pre-breathe exercise. He's the guy that's putting the tools on us and all that. So the guy that's staying inside actually, in many cases, is working much harder than those of us that are actually going out. But once we get all suited up, we've gotten through our pre-breathe, we've got our tools installed, we then go. If you look behind me, this is what we call the crew lock, and that's the part that actually gets taken down the vacuum. So when we're all done, Koichi stuffs us in there. Now normally all of this stuff that you see back in there right now wouldn't be there, because we'd have that all cleaned out, and we'd only have in there the tools that we might need when we're going outside. So we get stuffed in there. He closes this hatch that's right above us, and then we take that part of the station down to vacuum. And the hatch that you saw me come out of is actually, as you're looking at it, is on the lower portion of the airlock. And so I come out on the bottom side of the station. And so that's what happens. He closes this hatch, we take it to vacuum, we open the outside hatch, go outside, do our work, and then we come back in there, close that hatch, and then Koichi controls the procedure of pressurizing the airlock, or the crew lock again. Then we come back in here, and then they help us take off the suits. And that whole process actually takes quite a while. So we start probably getting dressed about 6:30 in the morning, and you know, the second EVA was about 7.5 hours. So that was actually just the outside time, if you will. And so yeah, it was a very long day. I don't know, probably by the time all was said and done, starting at 6:30, we were probably done about 10 o'clock at night or so. So pretty long day. But you know, fortunately we were able to get things fixed. So I just wanted to give you a sense of where we spent our days prior to going out the door on these EVAs. It's a pretty neat place to be. It was a pretty neat Christmas present to have that opportunity, and of course, most importantly, we're very happy to have been able to do it safely and actually have success and bring the station back up to full capability. So again, Happy New Year to everyone, and you know, we're starting to get short on time. I've got a little over 2 months left on station, so it's starting to go very quick. So again, looking forward to talking to you some more while I'm up here, and seeing everybody when I get back. Bye-bye.